Hey guys, ECRG here, back with another episode. Today I've got an interesting question from someone who emailed me from the YouTube channel, and they have an interesting question. And their question was, is it possible to be a CRA right out of college? Now, I believe I've answered this question before in some other videos in the past, but this is something that I've been getting a question about a lot recently. And of course, it deserves my full attention and full respect as a question. And so I wanted to make another video, an updated video here in 2019 on the topic, because as you guys know, things change, the way the industry moves change, and of course it deserves a 2019 lens to view this question from. So before we get into it, I always want to let you guys know the resume review program is still available if you're interested in getting your resume reviewed. If you're trying to break into clinical research or trying to get a better position in clinical research, or you're having a hard time really changing your stature in the clinical research community, you just want some help with your resume. There's also interview preparation that's available. And of course, I'm also going to be doing something new with the resume review program too, and I'm going to be adding LinkedIn to that also. So if you're interested in any of that or part of that, email me eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com. So this person emails in, and of course, if you have a question, you can email me also. I will not say your name or anything like that. I keep you anonymous. They write in, "Hello, I am emailing you through finding your YouTube channel. I am currently a biology/health science double major from the Chicago area. I graduate this upcoming May and have been applying for jobs around the clinical research job field. I mostly was focusing on clinical research coordinator, but was wondering if it's possible to obtain a clinical research associate position with a bachelor's degree and a year of undergraduate research. While on job sites, it's hard to sift through what position is what with differing titles and feel I might need some assistance. I also would be interested in your resume editing you have talked about in some of your past videos. Thank you in advance." And they sign your name. So just to address one of the small components of this question first is it's hard to sift through what the different positions and titles are. So if you are having that same issue, go back and look at some of my previous videos. I talk about what a clinical trial assistant is, what a TMF lead is, what a CRA is, and all of those thumbnails are the exact same. It's like, what do they do? So if you're having a hard time with that, I've done videos on that, episodes on that in the past. So go check those out. But the crux of your question is, can you be a clinical research associate coming right out of college, essentially with no clinical research experience? And the short answer is no. And the reason for that is, and I don't know where this stigma comes from, but people think that clinical research associate is a position that you can just walk off the street and get, or they call it a quote unquote entry level position. And I know where they get this from. It's because recruiters on the websites put out entry-level CRA. And what they really mean is someone that is new to the CRA role, but has clinical research experience. So they may have 2 years, 3 years of clinical research experience, but they want them for an entry-level CRA. And it's very confusing. It's very, very confusing. So you've got to kind of take a step back and look at the job posting, and you'll see in there where it says they want 2 years or 3 years of clinical research experience, usually study coordinator experience, etc. So I think that's where the stigma comes from, but because you'll never see entry-level project manager or entry-level vice president or something like that. You'll never see that. But so recruiters really have got to stop doing that, and it's leading people to believe that they can just walk off the street and become clinical research associates. And that's far from the case. So in the past, I would say maybe 5-6 years ago, you probably could have, because companies have these programs where there are clinical research associate programs. And even still today, very, very rarely, I would not count on this happening, but very, very rarely you might get a program where they're accepting people straight out of college. They don't do this that much anymore. Like I said, very, very rarely. But they do sometimes accept people into a clinical research associate program where you'll be training for 6 months to a year to become a CRA. And it's going to be a very intense training program because clinical research associate is not an entry-level job. You are given lots of freedom. You're given, I mean, you spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month, so you've got to know what you're doing. You're given so much freedom in the position, and you're responsible for a lot. You're responsible for reviewing data and ultimately patient safety and GCP and things of that nature. You have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and you can't have someone who doesn't know what they're doing in that position. So that's something to think about also. And to talk about, you were interested in clinical research coordinator position. That is a great position. That is one of my favorite positions in clinical research because they build such a strong foundation of clinical research knowledge at the coordinator level. You work hands-on with the patients and hands-on with the research, hands-on with the protocol, and you really get to understand what research is all about. And I think that's one of the best positions to become a CRA. Knowledge-wise, it is the best. Foundation-wise, it is the best. But I think practical-wise, probably in-house CRA is the best position to actually go from, your first position into CRA, just because you're already working in the CRO, you're already working in the pharmaceutical company. Whereas to go from the site level to the CRO level, or from the site level to the pharma level, it can be a little challenging. Doable for sure. Plenty of people have done it, but it can be a little challenging. And I think going from in-house CRA at a CRO to your same CRO's CRA position is a little bit smoother of a transition. But I definitely love people going into study coordinator path. It's a great path, and you're going to learn a lot, and it's going to be a great path for you. So I would definitely recommend that. And a lot of times programs do roll out where they only want people with study coordinator experience. So it's great for that. You just got to keep your head up for those programs when they come out and be ready to apply when they do come out if you're still interested in being a CRA. A lot of people do have a nursing background that go into study coordinator or a nurse practitioner or whatever it may be. But a lot of times they do like to hire nurses as study coordinators, and they make great study coordinators also. But even you fresh out of college can make a great study coordinator also. So I think that's a great path. But basically the punchline of this video is, no, you cannot become a CRA right out of college because you do not have the knowledge base. And even though you may have some undergraduate research experience, it's probably not clinical research experience on the side that we work in. You may have worked in a lab doing bench research, but it's not the same as clinical research. You haven't worked with GCP. You haven't worked with a 1572 or a delegation of authority log, or how to cross-reference the two, or how to make sure that everyone is trained, how to sort data, verify data, things of these nature. These are things that CRAs know how to do. And you learn a little bit about these, definitely the essential documents, but you learn about these tasks as you are getting in your entry-level position, be it study coordinator, project specialist, project coordinator, clinical trial assistant. Whatever your entry-level position is, you're learning about these things, and then you just take it to the next level as a CRA. A CRA is a very, very technical job, very, very detail-oriented, and it takes a lot to learn how to be a really, really good CRA. It takes a lot to really learn how to master being a CRA because it's tough. It's ever changing, and it requires a lot of effort, a lot of work to become good at it. And it's definitely far from an entry-level position. I would not recommend it if you are coming in without any experience. I definitely would not recommend it. It's going to be a lot to handle when it comes to doing the actual work and then handling the logistics of the travel, balancing your personal life, and all that stuff in there. It's a lot. It's a lot. So now, there is one way that you probably could, if you were asking me this as a freshman in college, wanting to be a CRA right out of college, and most people don't know what they want to do in college. So, I mean, there's probably one way which this could happen, and that's by doing internships every single year at a CRO. And even then, I don't know if they would happen. But if you did one every single year, let's say you did it for 3 summers, working in the entry-level role. Now, what would probably happen is they would hire you in as a senior level of the entry-level role, like a level 2 or a senior level of that. if you had experience at the internship level doing the exact same thing. So you'd be making pretty good money right out of college. But after that, then you could probably quickly jump into a CRA role after you've been in that role for 6 months to a year. Or maybe you might get super lucky and get into a CRA program if you did your resume right during that time. Or maybe even if you worked part-time somehow during the year and you were doing that the entire time in your college career or your last 2 years in college or something like that, then you could probably apply for a CRA role and be taken seriously. But you'd really have to be able to demonstrate your knowledge and what you've learned in that interview. But that's the one way I could think of it actually working, actually being a CRA right out of college. So hope this helps. Sorry to kind of come down on people that think CRA is an entry-level job. It's not your fault. I think it's the recruiters that put it out there that it is an entry-level job. So not your fault at all. But hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, email me, eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com, as always. Thank you, guys. Take care.